You've had a lot more experience with the Wrangler and the Rubicon than I have. What do you like most about it?
I like the most is they've actually done quite a lot of improvement from the old version to this new version on that one, the wheelbases and everything, and they've added, especially on the Rubicon, you've got the axles are different. They've got stronger axles on them. The transfer case has a lower gear as per such, combining in with the axles on that one. So the Rubicon is in its category on its own on that, having diff locks as well as traction control. The traction control, if I say, for example, put a rear diff lock on, in low range, the diff locks will only really come on in low range on that one. But if I put a diff lock on the rear axle, traction control still works on the front axle.
It still works on the front axle.
Yeah.
So you lock the back one and you've still got it working on the that's brilliant, because now you can still steer and you're still getting maximum traction from the front axle as well.
Yes, it's quite unique, because sometimes when other types of vehicles, as soon as you put a diff lock on, it cancels.
It cancels it completely.
And it's a nice feature on board to have that.
I don't have a lot of experience with this vehicle, and I must say that the first time I got into it, I just immediately thought, this is going to be fun. There's something about the car, there's something about the character, there's something about this vehicle that says to me, it's enormously capable and it's going to be a huge amount of fun. I mean, it's very quirky. It's the built-in roll cage and the strange way that the straps and things, but I love this character. I love the character of this car. The ride is firm. I'm not going to bottom the suspension anytime soon.
No.
The seats are good.
They are comfortable, I must admit.
They are. They've got good support, and they and it feels very, very nice on a rough track like this, I must say. If you were to buy one, which engine would be your choice? Because of this, of course, we've got the big petrol engine, which is thirsty and not really going to be very good for as an overland vehicle, but really good off-road. What would your choice be for somebody looking at a Wrangler or a Rubicon?
Because I've driven the diesel quite a lot, I do like the diesel motors on that one. But today it's whatever you prefer to drive. Really, it's so open on that one. You got a few advantages on that. The diesel motors really got a lot of oomph. If you're going to drive deserts and stuff, the petrol motors like the deserts because they're quicker off the mark. To me, I feel it's got down to the technology and everything on that one is what you prefer to drive. Don't be influenced that a diesel compared to a petrol, whatever, on that one. They've both got pros and cons onto them. I don't know how you feel about that, Andrew.
Well, I'm more into overlanding than I am into off-road. I mean, I love the off-road thing and that off-road fun, yes.
Yeah.
But my big thing is overlanding, which suggests to me that a big petrol motor is not going to be great for me. Lovely performance, yes, but range, I need extra payload if I want to extend my range, and I'm now limiting myself in terms of the versatility and usefulness of the vehicle because I don't have the range.
Okay.
So I would buy a diesel. I just would. That would be me.
All right, and just to chuck a curveball into this one, you've got to use all these low sulfurs and diesels in these newer type of engines. And that's not that available really up in northern sort of Africa, but I suppose Botswana is all available in that.
Southern Africa is not really too much of a problem once you get into Zambia. The quality is starting to drop, and Kenya it's pretty bad, but a lot of the Toyota common rails are fine. So I don't know how they've tuned these diesel engines, whether they can cope, but how difficult, I don't know too much about it. But if you're doing short excursions using a poor quality diesel, is it going to do that much damage to the engine if you're doing 3,000 or 4,000 kilometers on not so great diesel and then you're back to the high quality? Is that going to damage the engine?
I don't think it will damage the engine on that one. It's to what I understand, it's more of a sludging effect in the sort of the valves and stuff like that it goes through. So that as soon as you put good diesel back in again, it tends to clean all that out again. I don't think it will actually damage it. It was more of a question just to see how you thought about it on that. Obviously carrying diesel, a diesel is a far safer thing to carry than petrol. What I feel it is,
Yes. And then when you spill it, it stinks forever.
Yeah.
Unlike petrol, which the smell goes pretty quickly. But the vehicle to me the Jeep Wrangler doesn't scream overlanding truck to me. It just doesn't. Maybe it's because this one has the big petrol engine in it, and its payload is a little limited, and this yells off-road fun, and we've been playing with it and we can see it perform. It's brilliant off-road, and it is going to be definitely one of the very best. But it doesn't say to me great overland truck. That's my impression at this point. But I'd like to take this on some dunes. Actually, I really would.
I think, Andrew, it's actually going to surprise both of us. I've just looked at the roof rack that they've fitted onto here, and the way it's been bracketed onto the vehicle is absolutely brilliant. It's mounted really, really strong again, right onto the front. On the back, it's onto the roll cage at the back. It's just not onto the thing, so it's loading and strength of that is really tremendous on that one. I think if you pack correctly and sort of utilize it in that form, and I heard the chap that were talking about jerry cans and fitting, but I'm not too onto the sides, and then you can carry your extra fuels and stuff. It is, the limiting factor is the fuel and the distance that you can actually travel with the vehicle at the moment. They do put long range tanks in.
What is the payload of this vehicle?
I'm actually not that sure on this. The load on it, I must actually find out on that one. But this particular one with the extra strength axle on it, we must actually just have a look at that.
It would be interesting to know, because I know that it's one of the weaknesses of the Wrangler. The payload isn't particularly good, and so it's a limitation when using it for off-road. I don't know what the exact figures are, and how much it can be improved or increased with aftermarket springing and shocks. I don't know how the payload can be improved, but I mean it has to be improved in some way for it to be effective.
Especially the Rubicon, I think you could increase the payload just by springing it on that one.
Yeah.
It is unique in its own sort of character of it, that it has different strength diffs and on that already.
I'm going to go a little bit faster up here and see how the springing handles it. Not quite G-Wagon speed, but I'll just want to get
I'm going to put you into a four-wheel drive mode. We're in two-wheel drive
two now. Okay.
Okay, I can just pull it straight into four-wheel drive. We can go into four on the fly. The seats are comfortable.
It's good.
The other feature that I like about this, Andrew, is it's got stability, on-road safety as well, because I'm really much into the safety part of everything. You
steering is quite strange. I find the steering a bit vague.